This is a very familiar sight to fans of auto racing, particularly of the Indianapolis 500 and the IndyCar series, and that is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. Now, the exterior of the building has looked the same for a very, very long time, but a couple of years ago, this museum was closed to the public, and the reason was that there were renovations coming, and those renovations are now completed, and the museum reopens to the public this Wednesday. But I got an opportunity to go inside of this museum, and that's what we'll be taking a look at least some of the museum, in this video. Now, while you're down in the comments section or leaving a like on this video, because I hope you are, be sure to subscribe because there's a lot more racing content coming. But I'll just say this before we head over and take a look at the museum itself. It's one of the most amazing things that I've seen. I mean, if you remember back to the old museum, it was nostalgic, but it wasn't modern. It didn't feel, you go to other museums around the country like the Barber Museum or even go around the world to the Le Mans Museum, and there was just something missing. That missing element has been found, and we can't wait to show it to you. One of the people who was instrumental in making this project happen was the Vice President of Curation and Education here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, Jason Van Sickle. And I got to talk to Jason about some of the project goals and some of the things that he's excited about in the museum that you guys are going to see starting Wednesday.
So we're excited here to welcome people back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. It's been a bit for us of a long time coming, an 18-month total process from construction, moving the vehicles out in November 23 to this opening date this week. What's exciting is we are on time with that condensed schedule, and we are under budget with this portion of the capital campaign that we fundraise for. But I think that is the testament to our exhibition development team to put this. There was really no stone left unturned. There was hardly anything that we either reused from the old museum from a layout standpoint, from a narration standpoint, things like that. And really couldn't do it without our core exhibition development team. So I think what race fans, when they walk into the new IMS museum, will really enjoy is not only the presentation of the vehicles, they're presented in a way that they never were in the past, really highlighting the different artistic value, the innovation value that came with these vehicles that we have in the collection. We have an opportunity to display artifacts we've never seen before, displayed before, whether it be in Gasoline Alley or the mezzanine. And then one of the big things is the storytelling that we offer here. So whether you're a diehard race fan or a first-time visitor, whether it be through Gasoline Alley or the mezzanine, the deep dives, the interactives there, you're really able to learn the history of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and build upon that as you go through there. And then things like the starting line experience is going to be something that really wows race fans and first-time guests when they come through.
So let's not leave you waiting any longer. Let's take you around at least some of the museum. I didn't get to film all of it today, although I walked around all of it. I'll kind of talk about some of the things that I wasn't able to film for you guys at the end of this video, but you're just not going to believe what you're about to see. It is unbelievable. So let's go ahead and walk inside and take a look at the museum. All right, so let's start a bit of a walkthrough of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. Newly renovated, so exciting, and this is one of the coolest parts right off the bat. The Gasoline Alley Gallery, which showcases the history of the sport, I think, as well as any exhibit ever has here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. You can see all the different Gasoline Alley signs. You can see the different surfaces. We go from a facsimile of crushed tar to brick to a facsimile of asphalt. Now, for each era, you have artifacts, so many artifacts that if I went through every single one of them, this video would be 2 hours long. And I kind of want you to come out to the museum and see it. But every garage down this hallway features a different era. And so this obviously is the 1900s, 1910s, so 1914 Duesenberg is in Bay 1, and you can just see the amount of detail that the museum curation staff has done here to really get the era nailed down. Here we are with a 1928 Miller, one of the favorites of this era. A lot of people who loved the 20s or loved the racing in the 20s Love the Millers. Very important car. And then we head into the 50s. And you can see as the march of technology goes on, the march of the technology in the garage goes on as well. An antenna TV, an Offenhauser engine on the workbench over there. And of course, the Dean Van Line Special, which won the Race of Two Worlds at Monza, as well as was A.J. Foyt's Rookie of the Year car, or Rookie Year car. He wasn't Rookie of the Year, but it was his rookie car. And then, of course, we go to the rear engine revolution, the 1964 Lotus powered by Ford of Jimmy Clark. One of the more beautiful cars that's ever raced here. And I'd say that fridge is one of the more beautiful ones I've ever seen. And you've got a dartboard on the wall. I mean, the detail is absolutely unbelievable. The 70s, Janet Guthrie's Texaco Star in this garage. And you can see, again, what's amazing to me is the fact that they've somehow found a different wing for this car to hang in the garage. You can see a color TV is now in the garage rather than just a black and white TV that some of the earlier ones, and a little bit of an Easter egg there with a green chair on the side of the garage. And of course, we get into a little bit more of my speed, the 1990s, and we've got smaller flat screen TVs, 1993 Lola that of course Nigel Mansell drove to Rookie of the Year in 1993. The Cosworth engine sitting on an engine crate there. Of course, this was the years of the engine leases. And again, much less soul, I would say, as time went on. And then, of course, as we move down here, and again, every single one of these eras has artifacts. So the 90s has artifacts, the 2000s have artifacts. And of course, here's the bike that if you know Chucky, who used to ride around the garage. He unfortunately passed away, but this is his bike that the team's maintained throughout the years. And then here's our most recent car in the garage, actually on a tech pad here, setup pad, is the 96 track record holding race car, the 1994 Reynard of Arie Luyendyk. Absolutely fantastic. So as we continue on, one of the amazing things and certainly one of the biggest changes to the museum is this. I almost can't even give you the words to describe this. But this is the starting line experience. I filmed it earlier, and hopefully I can kind of show you some B-roll of what this looked like. But it's kind of an immersive experience that you feel like, and it sounds and it looks like you are on the starting line for the Indianapolis 500. It's something that I've been very fortunate in the past few years to actually experience myself. And if you have not been that fortunate, but you get the opportunity to come out to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at any time of the year, you'll be able to see this. And it's incredible. And I'll tell you, each of the cars on the front row of the starting grid here, you can just kind of hear me getting excited because I really am this excited about this, are authentic. Now, are they the actual cars that raced in the 500? No. But they are painted exactly like it. I mean, it feels like you're here. It feels like you've time traveled to May of 2024, and the 3 Penske cars are on the front row. And what's so cool about this is that as time goes on, and I guess it's an advantage of being able to have the same chassis for so long, is that as time marches on, as a new front row comes along, these cars will be rewrapped, repainted to look like the current front row for the Indianapolis 500. And what's so kind of advantageous about last year's historic front row was the fact that it was the second time that just one team swept the front row. Absolutely amazing. But if you look at this screen, it wraps the whole way around, and it shows footage from last year's and past year's Indianapolis 500s. It's really, really cool. And then I think the biggest thing I can say about these cars is that when the command is given and Roger Penske says, drivers, start your engines, the cars actually fire up, make noise, and it feels like you're on the grid at the Indianapolis 500. It's absolutely amazing.
Welcome to the 300,000 fans that are
So here's a familiar sight for those of you who have come to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum before. Right in front of us is the winner's floor. And you'll notice a few things that are similar to the way things used to be, but obviously it's a lot different. What's that up there? We'll go up there here in just a second. But let's head down to the Indianapolis 500 Winners Gallery. And if you head down this way, you are greeted by a bust of Tony Holman, who was so instrumental in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, and really saved the track. One of the figures who saved the track after World War II. Now, we've gone through all of these cars before in the old museum, so we won't go through every single one and talk about them in excruciating detail. We will talk about this one. This is the Marmon Wasp. This is the car that won the 1911 Indianapolis 500. And of course, this car needs a very prominent centerpiece in the museum, and it's very important that it's there. Of course, the 100th anniversary car with Dan Weldon is right next to it, and this, the 50th anniversary race, 1961, won by A.J. Foyt, his first of 4 wins. We've got the Domino's Pizza car, which at one point was the fastest car over 500 miles at the Indianapolis 500. Not so much anymore. That honor now goes to Helio Castroneves, but one of everyone's favorite race car. And as you can see, this is a media day here at the museum. So many folks out here filming. It's great to see. Bill Vukovich, one of the greatest and most prolific winners of all time. His car, back-to-back wins, and of course Jacques Villeneuve, the '95 winner, one that a lot of people hold in high regard as a win. The Borg Warner Trophy, of course, we love to see the Borg Warner Trophy in all of its glory in the center spot of the museum here. And one of the big differences, and something I think is really important to talk about, are the new positions of the cars. We have several cars along the walls. We won't go over all of them, but you can just see it's almost like a model collection. It's almost like, a room of die-cast. It's amazing to see these cars at this angle. And the idea here is that you're supposed to be able to see more of the car, more detail, be able to, in some ways, get closer to the cars than you've ever been able to get before. Remember, back at the old museum, there was a lot of ropes and a lot of cars stacked on top of each other. Now every car really seems to have room to breathe, and that's something I think that's really important for those of you who are looking to look at the cars in detail and really get to know them. And of course, here's the Delage, a favorite of those of us who love the history of the Speedway. New elevator here. This wasn't here before. This used to be a ramp, but this elevator is big enough to actually move cars up and down the museum, the 2 floors. And there are 2 floors to the museum. And I suppose we'll go downstairs before we go upstairs, because this used to be off limits. It's very much not anymore. Welcome to your first public viewing of the basement. And this doesn't look super spectacular. We've got the Chip Ganassi Gallery here, but this is spectacular. And this is something that's really cool that the museum's going to be doing. They are going to be have a rotating exhibit down here. And this is the first rotating exhibit, and it focuses on the Brickyard 400, which is definitely, I would describe, the second most important race that's ever happened here at the Indianapolis 500, or the second most important consecutive race, just considering the fact of how historically important it was at the time. And of course, this car, on loan from Hendrick Motorsports, is essentially the Marmon Wasp of the NASCAR race here, Jeff Gordon's Chevy Lumina from 1994. We, of course, have an important one here for the Penske family and the Penske team, and there's a whole lot more Penske that we'll be talking about here in a second, but Brad Keselowski's Brickyard 400 winner from 2018. And of course, we won't go through every single one of them. Maybe I will. 2010 winner Jamie McMurray. Jimmy Johnson had a lot of success here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, at least in terms of the stock cars. Here's his 2006 winning car, one of the Twisted Sister era. You can just see how, it's amazing. These cars especially, just look at them, because this was the peak of NASCAR aerodynamic development. Look at this. How goofy is that? The whole side of the car is flat. You want to talk about side force. And of course, Tony Stewart, his wins at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, unfortunately only coming in stock cars. But nonetheless, it's great to see Tony represented in the museum. Of course, so is the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. His 1995 Brickyard 400 win. One of the wins that I think really solidified the importance of the Brickyard 400 in terms of an auto race. The fact that it was Jeff Gordon and then Dale Earnhardt. And I love the Pontiac body style in NASCAR. And yeah, Bobby Labonte's 2000 winner is fantastic. And of course, Bakersfield, California produced 4 Indy 500 wins with Rick Mears that also produced a couple of Brickyards. And here's Kevin Harvick's Goodwrench Chevrolet, number 29. Such a beautiful car. But there's more. There's more Indy 500 winners. All the way around here, we've got the Blue Crown, we've got the 83 March, we've got Roadsters, we've got the 62 winner. Of course, the Knockout Hose Clamp Special is a personal favorite of mine. I got to ride in that car on the morning of the 2021 Indianapolis 500. That will always be a special moment for me, a special car. The 1946 winner, which is George Robeson, such an important car for the Indianapolis 500 because this was the first race of the Holman era. The 4-time winner, A.J. Foyt, the 64 car, one of Donald Davidson's, the former Speedway historian's favorite cars because it's unrestored. It's just as it rolled off the racetrack during the 1964 championship campaign. Johnny Parsons, 1950 winner. The 1912 car of Joe Dawson, beautiful machine. Of course, there are no cars more beautiful than this, the 1996 Reynard Ford of Buddy Lazier. You ask why I use purple? There's your answer. The Pink Zinc, the John Zink Special, a fan favorite. Most of these cars are fan favorites. The last upright dirt car to win, 1952, Troy Ruttman. And the most recent winner, or at least the most recent winning car to be acquired by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 1986 winner, Bobby Rahal, the 86 March. Beautiful machine. Another super, super, super important gallery here in this museum. There are so many, but the 4-time winners, and there are 4 of them now, each of them has their own space here. And of course, there is room to expand in case someone eventually does win another 4-time or join the 4-time Winners Club. First car we're greeted with is the 2001 winning Dallara Oldsmobile of Helio Castroneves, of course, winning the race in 01. His first win, 02, 09, and that fabulous 2021 race. Helio Castroneves. And speaking of 2021, here is his fire suit, helmet, and gloves from that race. One of the more beautiful cars to win the Indianapolis 500 is the 1991 Penske Chevrolet of Rick Mears. One of the more memorable finishes as well, his duel with Michael Andretti, denying Michael in what was probably Michael's best shot to win the Indianapolis 500. One of the few times he didn't have mechanical failures or human errors stop him from winning the Indianapolis 500. Of course, Mears won in 79, 84, 88, and his last win in 91. And here's Rick Mears' uniform and helmet. There's more Rick Mears stuff later on in the museum, and we'll talk about that in just a second. There's so much stuff in here. I'm missing stuff, but that's why you should come to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, because this is just awesome. Al Unser Sr., I think perhaps one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Indy 500 driver of all time. His record absolutely unmatched. There's his fire suit with the Vales Parnelli Jones team. He won back-to-back wins, his first 2 in 70 and 71. 78 with the Chaparral team, and this, his final win in a year-old March that was pulled out of a hotel room. 1986 car, 1987 was the year he won, and it was a very unlikely victory, but it was one that I think solidified Al Unser as a legend of the Speedway. But there is no driver more legendary than Anthony Joseph Foyt Jr. AJ won 4 races. He was the first one to win 4 races, winning in 61, 64, 67, and this one, 1977. And super impressive, AJ won the race, won it as a car owner. He built his own car. This is the Coyote chassis, and he built his own engine. It was a modification of the 4-cam Ford aptly named, a Foyt. The only thing he didn't do was the tires. But then again, he was a Goodyear tire test driver, so he developed the tires too. He developed pretty much everything on this race car. Super impressive win for A.J. Foyt. And this car, of course, has a very special place here in the museum. And as we love interaction and being able to take pictures with things, you can take your picture with the 4-time winners. So a few of the things that I'll be able to show you in a part 2 to this video is that mezzanine, the top level above the winners gallery. It's full of artifacts and historical documents. Really, really awesome. A part that I was a bit disappointed that I didn't get to show you because it's amazing, is the Penske Gallery, which is actually curated by Team Penske. It's not curated by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. And we'll take a walk through there very, very shortly. But that is absolutely spectacular. It has almost every race-winning engine, several cars of Team Penske's win, every baby Borg, every race-winning helmet, every race-winning suit. It's crazy. So we'll be taking a look at that very soon. But I'm very encouraged by what I've seen at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. It is spectacular. It's a great monument to this great sport of ours, and I think it's going to bring people in. And that's something that I think a lot of IndyCar racing has struggled with, right? The ability to bring people in and show them what it's like. I said it on the grid. It was the closest thing to actually being there. And the fact that the museum is able to replicate that experience, I think, is probably my highest mark. I can't wait for you guys to get in here and see it for yourself. I'm so privileged and honored that the museum invited me to the media session today, and I can't wait to go back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more motorsport and IndyCar and Indy 500 coverage, and we'll see you very soon in the next video.